What up, folks? Vinny D here, back with another fucking fantastic video. And I don't know, I had like a couple different ideas for the topic of this video. I wrote one down, but I'm not really feeling inspired on that topic right now, just because of how my day started. I'm thinking about yesterday. I gave like a lead at this group about like what the story that we tell ourselves, like what I basically the lead was like, what's the story that you tell yourself, like. And for me, um I've heard this kind of topic from multiple different people that I look up to. Again, like going back to Alex Hormozy, he has a video out there talking about like, he talks about this in multiple interviews, but like how like our personal development is a ladder, right? So we have like, it's like the two sides of the ladder and then like the rung in the middle. And one side of the ladder is our character traits, like are we actually the type of person that like does these things that gets the outcomes that we're desiring. And then he talks about like our skills, like do I have the actual necessary skills to bring the results that am I capable of actually doing the necessary activity to produce the result. And then the middle part is like the beliefs. So it's like, and that kind of like ties into like what the story that you're telling yourself. Like, are you telling, are your beliefs like limiting beliefs, beliefs that are keeping you from taking the necessary action to become the best version of yourself, or that are these beliefs like empowering like beliefs that are allowing you to take the necessary actions to become the best version of yourself, or maybe your beliefs are something a delusion that's like it's a justification that you're giving yourself, like, oh, it's okay to do this because XYZ, when really like the justification to continue the same thought pattern and behavior is actually what's holding you back from becoming the version of yourself that gets the results that you're looking to get in life. And I know for me, I've struggled with the beliefs part of this like ladder structure for a long for like my entire journey. I think it's like an ongoing thing, because I like it's definitely like an ongoing thing. Um, and I'm constantly like reevaluating my belief system, because I know that like the beliefs that got me to this point of progress and results is not going to be sufficient to get me to like the next rung of the ladder. And I feel like I'm really copying Alex when I say this, because like his video talks very explicitly. I'm gonna link to the video, but I'm trying to give my own perspective on this. So when it comes to these beliefs, um, a big thing, I read a book called The Speed of Trust, and it's a really great book. It's by Stephen Covey, or Stephen Covey. I don't really know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it talks about how essentially trust is like broken up into these four areas. So we look at like, is this person like, it's like intention, competence, capabilities, and results, right? So like we trust people or external powers based on, you know, what is the likelihood that we think that this person is capable of doing what they're saying they're going to do. What shows that they are competent enough to be able to do this? Like, do they have results in the past that are in alignment with what they're telling me now? Like, are they able to produce the result they're saying they're going to be able to produce? And like, do I know that this person has benevolent intentions? So, or at least like some level of like win-win intentions. Like they want to see me benefit, as they're saying they want to see me benefit, even though obviously, of course, they will benefit in some way, shape, or form as well. So when I think about these four concepts of like how we base our willingness to extend trust, I like turn that in me, or like inside to myself. It's like, okay, well, the same things that I use to extend trust to other people, I run them through this kind of like screening process. I think we do the same thing for ourselves, and in my experience, that's been true. Um, and then like tying this back to like the story I tell myself about myself and what's possible for me is like when I, and I think like the basis level is like this like thing of integrity, this idea of integrity where it's like basically if I make a commitment to myself and don't live up to that commitment, why would I trust myself on the next thing that I say I'm going to do? Right? So like that, and then goes at that story I tell myself. I'm telling myself this story like, well, I want to go start this business and make it successful. But the story that I'm telling myself, the beliefs I have about myself are not in alignment to be able to do that. Because in the past, I would make a commitment to myself that was unfulfilled. I had a lot of this is why I struggled with this a lot. I still struggle with this now. And I'm working through this. What it looks like for me is like I would have these like I would set these super audacious goals that were one unrealistic, and here's why: because I wasn't at the level of competence. I had an egotistical cocksureness that was not based in fact. I thought I was better than I was. It was same with my capabilities, same with my past results. I didn't really I had that. I think it's important to have self belief and like think like I'm gonna go fucking do crazy shit. And for me, that came from like seeing all these other people doing crazy shit. I'm like, well, if they can, why can't I? But then the reality set in of like I don't have the capabilities. Like I need to go develop these skills, right? Um, to be able to produce the results that I want to produce. And I need to like increase my level of competence in this field in order to actually like be able to complete the tasks involved with key activities to get the result. Um, but where integrity comes into this is like starting small because for a long time I planted all these seeds of what I would call failure. And we can go into more about like how I perceive failure now, but I think is the point staying on topic here is I would make these commitments to myself. Let's just for this example, I'm just going to completely disregard all the commitments I had made to other people in the past I did not fulfill, right? So I'm just going to stick to here. What are the commitments that I've made to myself that I was unable to stick to? And again, it goes back to like all these goals I would set. I'm like, I'm going to do this and like all these things I'm going to do, and then I would maybe complete 10% of those things, and the story I would tell myself would get worse, right? Because I would basically be laying down these seeds of doubt and insecurity, and then I would be essentially the feedback loop would be telling me like, yeah, like this is true. It would be reinforcing that belief of like, yeah, you're not capable of doing this, and here's why. Like it's because you said you were gonna do this and didn't do it. So like you said you were gonna do this, you didn't do it, and you stack enough of those like fucking I said I was gonna do this and didn't do it. Even with the small stuff, it becomes the story we tell ourselves. Which for a lot of people, I see this is it looks where that looks like for a lot of people is they try to do something, they fail, and then they think that that's the end of the road. They're not. It's not possible for them, and they just give up there and then become complacent and they are accepting of like an average lifestyle that is not actually very conducive to like their happiness, their freedom, their autonomy, all these things that we're striving for, that you probably striving for if you're consistently watching my videos, because that's what I'm striving for. So again, this is talking about integrity. When I make a commitment to myself today, I know that I have to fulfill that commitment. So first and foremost, I'm very selective about the commitments I make, even now to other people, because I know it's really a lot less about other people. It's more about if I say I'm going to do this and I don't do this, how is that going to reflect on how I feel about myself and the things I'm going to tell myself about myself moving forward. So I'm very selective now about like actually committing to something, and even like if there's a lot of situations that arise where like people have all these expectations of what they want you to do, and in the moment you kind of like suffice to like tell them, yeah, I'll do that, or like, yeah, I'll consider it, whatever. But I actually think it's really important to just be like, because I still do that sometimes. Like I'll tell people like, yeah, maybe, but I know in my mind I'm like, I'm not fully committed to this. So if I don't do it, it's okay. It's not. It doesn't change my character as a person. But now again, that's like another story where it's like I'm trying to get more to the point where I'm just like very abrasively saying, no, I'm not gonna do that. And if I have to explain myself, maybe I will. But like, try not to explain myself either, because I'm certain of why I'm saying no. I don't need to explain myself because the story I tell myself is more empowering, and I know that for them what they're saying might be useful, but I know for me and where I'm trying to go, I am going to take in the information from people that are have gone where I've wanted to go, and I don't need to listen to what this person's saying because they are not even sympathetic to where, like, they don't even want to go where I'm going, let alone would they have any idea of how to get there. um so that integrity though, it's just that integrity of like, when I say I'm gonna do something, even if it's small, like if I'm like, today I'm gonna fast until 3 o'clock, I have to fulfill that. And then every time I fulfill these small little agreements I make with myself, like, you're gonna do this, and I do that, it gives me power, because then it's like, when I'm doing it, I'm literally telling myself in my head, I'm like, I am successful now because I did the hard work involved in the thing that I said I was going to do, and I completed it. Even though there were obstacles, I still persevered. So I am I am a person who has perseverance, right? And I can I do this with a lot of things now, but like, I recently set like 2 6 month goals for myself, which like, one of them was to be like completely celibate and like avoid any type of like dating or relationship. And I did that, and throughout the process of doing this, I was faced with a lot of moments where there were opportunities to break this commitment to myself, and it would have been very convenient. It would have been very convenient to break these commitments. Yeah. So, anyways, it would have been really convenient for me to like act promiscuously, and but I knew that by making this commitment to myself 6 months ago, like if I were to break it now, that's just sowing more seeds of like, I am not competent. I am not a man of my word. So like, that's like the belief system of like, when I say something, I don't. And so that right there was enough for me to like, to realize like, okay, this momentary pleasure would be really nice, but because I made the decision to follow through with this action of being celibate, I'm gonna do this, not for any other reason, but so that I could change the story that I tell myself about myself. And through this, just this one small area of my life, making a commitment to myself and following through, it has opened up so much of like what's possible for myself. Because I'm like, okay, well, and this is where the story starts changing. It's like, well, if I can make this commitment and follow through, that I can commit to another 6 month thing. Maybe I'm like, maybe I can do 12 months of like, maybe not being celibate, but maybe like I can work on this one business without being distracted for 12 months. And when those moments of temptation come to take the easier, softer way, I'm able to realize like, I can take these. It is an option. I have the choice to go and do the opposite of what I said to myself I was going to do. But understanding that the consequence of that is knowing it doesn't matter. I can hide it from the fucking world. It doesn't matter. The world's gonna give me all the excuses I fucking need. But I can't give myself the excuse, because then on the inside I know. No one else might know, but I know that I set a standard for myself, and I was unable to live up to that standard. And then I justified and gave excuses so I would feel better. I think that kind of like making a circle off of that. It's just like, this is where like I think guilt and shame is healthy, because if you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing this thing because it's not in alignment with your sex ideal, the person that you want to project into the world, the person that you want to be, and you know it doesn't align, you should feel like shit when you do shit that's not in alignment, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to make the corrective measures necessary to ensure that that action and behavior and thought pattern is no longer going to be a part of the day-to-day life of this new version of you. And I guess just realizing that the only way to get to the next version of yourself is to let go of things, right? Because going back to the time management video that I had last week, it's like we only have 16 hours a day. So if I want to get to the new version of myself, I have to do the things that that person would do. In order to have the time to do those things that this new person would do, I would have to let go of the things that this person would do. Again, going back to changing the story. Like, why was it okay for me to be on social media all the time? I told myself the story for 6 years of why it was okay for me to spend an hour or two every day, waste my time on social media, where now that story doesn't exist. Because I stopped making that excuse in my mind of why it would be okay to do this, because I found a reason for why I can't do it. And that reason came when I realized I want to be a successful entrepreneur. It's like, okay, what would a successful entrepreneur do? Okay. And then when I started trying to answer that question, what would a successful entrepreneur do? Well, they wouldn't be spending 2 hours a day on social media. So like that's like the first step in, okay, closer to being a successful entrepreneur is I'm no longer gonna fucking spend 2 hours a day on social media. Really simple formula. But to circle it back, it's all has to do with the story we tell ourselves. And really, like, the things that we commit to, we have to follow through on. So don't fucking think that you're gonna make all these fucking commitments and not fulfill them, and that it's not going to affect how you talk to yourself about yourself. Unless you're like a complete fucking psychopath that doesn't have any, I'm not even getting into that right now. But the point is, it's just important to have integrity. It's important to, specifically with yourself, because once you figure it out with yourself, how to like say you're gonna do something in your mind, like making a decision in my mind that I'm gonna go do something, and then doing it, and then also acknowledging it when it's done. It's like, okay, you said you were gonna do this thing. It required quite a bit of time investment and quite a bit of energy investment and mental power, and you did it. So that means that you are the person who is able to control their impulses for an extended period of time. So now that that's the story I tell myself, now that I know I have impulse control. So in what other ways that would be beneficial to my future, to my life, can I apply this knowingness belief of me having impulse control? And again, it's like, okay, well, I can go pursue bigger things now, because now I think, okay, well, I know I can commit myself to 12 months to something that's going to require focus, energy, mental power. And the result might be something external that makes my life better. I can, what I mean? It's just, and this is how we improve. This is personal development. I think it all starts with the story that we tell ourselves, about the people around us. And I think the way that we get to having a story that is empowering and allows us to do the things that we want to do and live the life of our dreams is by having integrity with ourselves. When we say we're going to do something, we do it. And we continue to do this. And every single time that we do it, small things, medium things, the bigger 6-month, 12-month things, we remind ourselves, like, hey, you said you were going to do this, and you followed through. And that makes you this type of person. And as we stack these wins, as we stack these positive stories, these empowering stories we're telling ourselves about ourselves, holy shit, there's a wasp right there. It allows us to do more with our lives. And with that, I'm gonna go. There's giant ass wasps next to me. Thank you for watching the video. I hope that you found the last part of the video as entertaining as I did. Please subscribe. And if you watched the video all the way through and you're at this part, I really appreciate it, because that helps out with YouTube recommending the video to more people. So have a great day.